welcome to Communicating with Power. This is the sequel, but if you weren't with us on the first one, it doesn't matter. We will review the basics and just add more value to the topic on this presentation. My name is Tanya. I'm from Top Tier Consulting. And the reason we are here today is actually to, pardon me, my presentation was lagging. We were going too fast for the technology. So the purpose of our gathering here today is so that we can explore the differences between the different motives of communications. So we've got some power-filled communication, some powerful ones, and we'll discover the minor communication practices that can massively impact your business. So ultimately, the goal is to leverage communication to grow your company. And so on the agenda, we'll start by defining communication, then we'll dive deeper into powerful communication, building on to concepts we had looked at during the first seminar, but not exclusive to it. And then we'll uncover more power-filled communication, and we'll discuss the business impacts all this has on your organization. And then I'll end with some reflection points as well as Q&A session. Given that we're very little, you can either drop your comments in the chat and I will address it right after I'm done, because I really want to see you as we have that wonderful exchange. And so, if we start with the basics, communication, what is that exactly? Well, according to Merriam-Webster, it is information that is transmitted or conveyed. It is a verbal or written message, and it is a process by which information is exchanged between individuals, and that may be through a system of symbols, signs, or behaviors. Believe it or not, there are actually more than 15 reasons why a person would put pen to paper or want to open their mouth. Ultimately, they can be divided into two categories, and notably powerful communication or power-filled communication. So if we start with the powerful one, what is that exactly? Well, it's words, tones, interactions that are immersed in power. Power is naturally embedded in this communication, and as a result, that communication is full of impact and hence power. And this is because powerful communication is based on the desire to thrive. And so it is very expansive and it encourages conversation. And so it is full of possibilities, making that communication limitless. Now, there are more than 5 forms of powerful communication, and today I'll be discussing 2 of them, notably being of service and being a clean slate. So if we start with being of service, what does that mean? Well, it's exploring what can be done to help. It's very action-oriented. And so here we are seeking to understand who can be served or helped by our offering, and then knowing what value can be brought to individuals. And so the particularity here is asking what can I do to be of service, as opposed to how can I be of service, because that will foster the generation of ideas. And why is that? Well, if you get an idea, you want to share it with others, which puts you in communication with which opens up a dialogue. So you get an idea, you talk about it with other people, and then, through that discussion, it can grow more and more. Hence coming back to, the possibilities, the expansion that I mentioned in the previous slide. Now, pardon me. How can being of service help your business? Well, if you get these ideas, you're sharing them, there's a lot of innovation You've got these new ideas being injected into your business that will enable your business to progress because you are taking action. You've got an idea, you talk about it with other people, you're trying different things, and that will lead your business to expand. It's going to grow because you're wondering, well, what can I do to be of service? So you might offer more services. Given that you're looking at who can I serve, you might help more people. So your business is increasing. As a result, that will give you a lot of focus because you're super clear on the direction of your organization. You know who you serve, you know what you do to be of service, and that clarity translates into intentional actions and content. Why? Because you know what your audience, what your market needs from you, and you know how you can help them. And that creates a lot of value for you as well as the market that you serve. Now, if we move on to being a clean slate, what is that exactly? It's approaching the communication with an open mind. That communication might be a conversation, a meeting, a press conference, a press release, web content, you name it. It's ultimately leaving stereotypes, prejudice, past experiences all in the past. We are not offloading onto the individual here, nor are we projecting our opinions on the other individual or the group of individuals. We are acting as a sounding board for novelty and possibility. What does that look like exactly? Well, we're hearing other people's ideas, just listening without comments. And we might mirror their enthusiasm. If the person is there joyous and big smile on their face, we're going to catch that and we'll smile back. And that's what being a clean slate is. You're just kind of embarking on the excitement that individual has and simply believing in their vision. If they're excited, why shouldn't we be excited? And so the impact of being a clean slate on your business is it will provide a lot of objectivity because we have no prejudice, no expectation. We are taking it as it is. And so that will encourage true expression. It'll be a safe place for people to communicate with you, to express themselves. And you won't have history repeating itself or replaying itself in your mind because, as I mentioned, we're leaving the past in the past. And so that will allow you to discover a lot of things, and your business will get like inspiration and it will be exciting. Welcome, Michael. And then if we move on to power-filled communication, that is a filler type of power. This communication has no substance, and as a result, it has a very little ability for lasting impact. And why is that? It's because power-filled communication is instigated by a desire to survive or a state of desperation. For example, getting through an event, getting out of a situation, ending a conversation. And so we just want to escape, we feel stuck and we just want out. And as a result, this communication can be extremely limiting because it's constraining. We feel somewhat suffocated. So that's why it's imagined power, because it's not real. There's no impact being had here. And believe it or not, there are actually 10 forms of power-filled communication. And so today I want to address avoiding and resisting. And this might occur to you as the fight or flight response. So that's kind of why I picked it, so we can look at it through that lens as well. So if we start with avoiding, that is ultimately the flight response. We are fleeing from a situation, definitely walking away. We are not engaging in the communication whatsoever. So the matter is truly left unresolved because we are not participating in it. It's ignoring the situation but not denying. And so what I want to just kind of elaborate on that topic is we recognize that there's a communication happening here. However, we are willingly choosing not to participate in it. So I see it, but I'm making a choice not to embark in it. So it's not denial because I'm aware of its existence. Now, avoiding in a business context can lead to persistent conflict because, again, we're not resolving anything. So it's just going to turn over from time to time, month to month, until something's going to happen. I don't know, but that conflict will come to the surface. And so all that strenuous is going to cause mental turmoil because, again, we know there's a communication that's not resolved here, but we're choosing not to participate in it. So in our mind, maybe we're resolving that communication with ourselves. Who knows? Maybe we're thinking about what the other person told us, but we are certainly not expressing ourselves to the concerned party. So that's why I say there's no expression. So that ultimately leads to a lack of understanding because if it's a one-way street, the other person has no idea where you stand. And as a result, if you're talking to a client, this will lead to very poor service because they're misunderstood or they can't understand you. And on the other hand, if you're dealing with business partners or vendors, it can lead to very poor relationships because, again, there's no exchange of information and there's this unresolved conflict. So it's not the ideal situation, to say the least. Now, if we move on to resistance, this is essentially the fight response. We are combating novelty in this case. Anything that doesn't align with our ideology, we reject it. And so there is certainly a fixed idea in our head or a fixed perspective. There's a firm belief in a specific point of view, and it's almost as if all other points of view don't exist or are not important or they don't matter. And as a result, that leads to a very closed mind. And so for a business, the impacts of that can be very tense conversation because, again, it's a one-way street. No two cars can circulate on that road. So no two people can have different opinions and create something new in this type of communication. So given that there's tension, there'll probably be conflict and disagreements that will occur from that. Because, again, resisting, one visual I can provide is it's almost as if there's a brick wall in that communication, and anything that is not brick or motor that can contribute to that brick wall is bouncing off completely. And so given that there's this conflict and negativity going on, there's certainly no innovation and no growth because we can't build. We are destructing because we're rejecting everything, And so as a result, there'll be absence of adaptation because if I can't grow and kind of take in what's going on, the changes occurring in my market or my industry, I can't adapt. And as a result, that will lead to missed opportunities because there's these great maybe doors that are opening for your business, but because you're resisting, you don't take advantage of them. So as a result, that can make the company stagnate and perhaps become irrelevant. I'll give you an example. If I am a VHS manufacturer, if I haven't gotten on the DVD bandwagon or online streaming trend, my business is now obsolete. It's not a valued product anymore. And as a result, I become irrelevant and perhaps file for bankruptcy. And that leads me to the reflection points. So, if we're to look at the powerful aspect of your business with regards to being of service, is the focus on who and what you serve, or is it on how? And then, if it comes to being a clean slate, is the current cleanliness providing the communication and exchanges you seek in your business? And don't worry, I'll send these over to you guys so you can really sit down and think about it. But as we discuss, let's assess the business power fill. Are there situations of avoidance that are hindering your business? And at the same time, is resistance present in your organization? Are clients, distributors, investors resisting your products, services, or ideas? Or is the business resisting client feedback, market trends, or new ideas? So, if you need additional insight to get your business to the top tier of its industry, you can visit our website, book a free consultation if we haven't had the pleasure of speaking yet, or you can email us in order to access specific resources. So now we are at the end of the presentation.